Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here, and welcome to part 3 of the Q&A series. The first question is, do you still do things for the rough cuts? And I used to do stuff on the rough cuts channel on YouTube a lot, and then I haven't done it for quite a while. I used to be on Mondays, and I used to always end up having to work in the morning Mondays, and it just was very difficult for me to put the videos up. And it's always hard to commit to a certain day, because it was always Monday, and it just gets difficult to commit to a certain day, like do a video every time that day. That's why I like with this channel, I just put them up whenever I'm able to. Like, I don't have any specific thing. It used to be like with me and MJ that around the towns were always like Saturday or Sunday up, but I don't have any real commitments like to dates anymore. I may at some point start posting in there again. I know there's 2 new people though posting on Mondays. The next question is, Sean, have you ever seen the film Killdozer? If not, go to ioffer.com, pick up a $10 bootleg. I also recommend you get Wes Craven's Shocker. I have seen Shocker. I did like that. For Killdozer, though, I don't think I've seen that. I've seen a bunch of the bootlegs, though, at the horror conventions. The one thing with bootlegs is you have to watch with that iOffer, because I know some people that have gotten stuff in there. I know Wet Movie did and said some of the stuff on there don't have cases and stuff, and they're just the discs and all that. So that's I don't like when it doesn't come with a case and the artwork and stuff. Then I can lose them and everything. I've had that happen with a lot of those. I don't buy a ton of bootlegs. I only get bootlegs if it's something you can't get and there's like no chance in it ever coming out. But I don't know about iOffer if it's any good or not. What is your opinion on the ending of Faceless? Thought it could have been different. I forget how exactly it ended. I think it. I remember liking the movie a lot though. I think it's a good movie, but personally, what's your reason for liking Dead End Drive-In? I always like those apocalyptic kind of end-of-the-world movies with like a different take on the future and everything. And I like, too, that it's set in a drive-in. I like movies set in drive-ins, things like that. So that's pretty much the main reason I like that. The next question is, do you own any vinyl records? We used to have a little record player, but I don't really buy a lot of that stuff. Like, I don't have a player anymore, though, so I don't really plan to get a whole lot of that stuff, because I'm trying not to hoard a lot of stuff that I don't need anymore. So, I used to have a lot of shit. If you remember the old videos when you saw the basement, there was a lot of junk in that basement. A lot of stuff's gone, like I talked about before, like dumpsters of stuff is gone. Hey, Sean, what do you think of all the movies that wrestlers are doing, like Stone Cold, Rock, John Cena, and have you seen Kane, See No Evil? I really liked that See No Evil. For some reason, I remember really liking that. It wasn't, an amazing movie, but it was a cool slasher, really gory, and I thought it was well done. I liked it. And it's not a perfect movie, like I said. And I have no problem with wrestlers being in movies. I think it makes sense because wrestling is acting, because especially like WWE and stuff, it's not really, most of it's all scripted and set up, so they're acting on there, so it makes sense that they would go into movies, and you can't wrestle forever. You kind of, when you get to a certain age, you just can't keep doing it. And like I always liked Hulk Hogan, is always the one I liked the best. That went into acting and then didn't do as much stuff. So I have no problem with that. What do you think? What movie have you been most disappointed in? I don't know what I've been most disappointed in, but sometimes when they wait a really long time and then come back and make a sequel to it, like with Lost Boys 2 and that Indiana Jones movie, I think it's just they're never going to be. It's just like you have to wonder how the new Pee Wee movie is going to be. If we're all going to like I say, it sounds like they're going to do it, and they've been talking about it for a long time. But you have to really wonder if you're going to like it as much as you hope, and that's the problem. This one's a bunch of people responding to something. Sean, what are your thoughts on movies based on video games like Resident Evil and Lara Croft? Well, I've seen all of them. The Lara Croft movies, I think I remember thinking the first one was okay. The second one, I don't know if I watched. I think I watched it. I don't think I liked that. The Resident Evil movies, I used to think I really liked the first one, and I watched it again, and it wasn't amazing. I didn't care for it too much. It wasn't as good as I thought. But I have no problem with that. I don't really play video games. I know Uwe Ball, or however you say his name, that's all he seems to be doing is making all those video game movies. But I have no problem with it, because I don't really play the original video games. But, I don't really have any, opinions of them. I think they're fine, though. I mean, The Resident Evil ones like really went downhill though a little bit. Like some like the last one I really didn't like. Do you think about broadening your movie library with different types of movies? Where that you watch a large number of movies, and the only problem that I have is that there are a lot of great movies that I love, and you don't give a crap about them. It's a shame that these films pass you by. I recommend you watch The Departed, Goodfellas, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, A Bronx Tale, The Crying Game. What do you say? Please consider it. I've seen The Crying Game. I like that. I don't talk about a lot of like dramas and things like that, but I do watch some of those movies. But like, there's just some that are I know that you consider the classic ones. For some reason, I just can't get into them, like The Godfather and stuff. I don't know. I don't. There's nothing wrong with them. I don't really like mafia movies, like movies about the mafia. That's why I never really watched The Sopranos, and I know it's not really mafia. I probably would like it if I watched it, but for some reason, I'm not a big fan of mafia movies. I don't know. MJ never was either. That's one thing we always agreed upon, was not liking mafia movies. And I don't know why I don't like them, but I you know, Robert De Niro in the Analyze This, and even though that was kind of mafia, but silly mafia. What's your favorite non-horror genre Asian film? And so, are you a fan of those types of films in terms of cinematography, i.e. Hero, House of Flying Daggers? I don't watch a lot of those like martial arts kung fu movies. Like as a kid, I watched the American ones, like Three Ninjas and those kind of things. And they made that really cheesy one that was like a dollar movie with what was it? It was like Ninja something. It was from the '80s and really bad. It was about like these kids. They were on like a camping trip or something. It was like a big group of kids, and then they were kidnapped or something out in the woods. I got it a long time ago, like Ninja Heroes or something. I don't remember what it was called, but I don't watch a ton of that stuff. This person says, "Will you be my soulmate?" Well, I don't know who you are. Some rude comments here. Have you ever seen the movie Love Object? Watched it on Netflix and thought it was pretty crazy. I've hardly heard anyone talk about it. And seeing as how you are like on one of the people I look up to far as a movie reviewer and stuff, I was wondering if you have seen it and what you thought. I have seen Love Object. There was another movie too about that. It was about like a guy in love with a dead body, and I think Love Object kept rotting throughout the movies I recall. And then there was another one similar to that recently about this guy that had this girl that he ended up killing and kept her body in the house. And it was a new one that was really good. The main actor in it was really good. But I did like that one. Have you seen the Gingerbread Man movies? Also, have you seen Election with Matthew Broderick? If so, what are your thoughts on them? I've never watched the Gingerbread Man movies. I don't like a lot of the newer Charles Band movies. I love the classic ones like Ghoulies and the original. Pretty much Ghoulies was my favorite one. But I don't know, for some reason like I haven't been as interested in that type of film. It has to be done a certain way to like it. Sometimes I like them though. It really depends. I haven't seen them, so I don't really know. Also, with Election though, I really liked Election. Why did you move to California and you're still doing videos with MJ? Well, MJ's in Maryland now, so there's really no way until I go back there. I have decided I will go back to visit, since it's very hard, I think, for MJ to get out here. When I'm not busy shooting something, I'm going to go up there. It's going to be busy coming up for the way that things look, so I'm really glad. I love to be busy doing movies. But I will go there and film some stuff with MJ. But I did move mainly just for films, and even though I'm still doing films all over the place, I just was sort of sick and tired of Maryland, and needed to go somewhere different, needed a different type of life. I've talked about that a lot, though. Do you ever get scared in your room after watching a horror movie? As a kid, I did. Not really anymore. There was some weird stuff going on last night outside with like this. There's a tower, a cell phone tower, and it looked like some big pole going out of it. I don't know what was going on. It was all lit up. It looked like an alien thing going on. It was kind of creepy. Sometimes things in real life can be creepier. Like certain scary people you run into or something. I don't know. Like, there's some freaky people if you go to Walmart sometimes. Like, they have that people in Walmart. There's some creepy people in Walmart. So sometimes that's a little bit creepier than movies. Have you ever seen the 1981 movie Neighbors? I love that movie. With Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. If so, what did you think of it? It gets horrible ratings on IMDb. But it's one of my favorite movies, and definitely one you should check out. It's definitely. I think it gets bad reviews probably because people don't understand it. It's such a weird, different movie, and I love too how you felt like one of the trivia things about the movie was they originally supposed to play the opposite roles and switched right before they shot. But that's a really good one. If you can find that or find a bootleg of it, because for some reason there's no DVD of it. Don't ask me why, but it's so good. It's like Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, I think it's Dan Aykroyd moves in to the house next to John Belushi's character. It's a very weird guy. It has a similar feel to like The Burbs. It has that kind of a Joe Dante kind of feel, even though it's not his movie. It feels like that kind of a movie. It really, if you watch that and The Burbs, they fit together. I think it's the same neighborhood too, on the Universal backlot. I think. Greetings from Scotland, Sean. Do you like foreign language films? How many do you have in your collection? Do you mind watching subtitle movies, or do you prefer to have it dubbed? Yeah, I don't know how many I have, but I do watch them. I don't like the dubbed. Something about dubbed, you're not seeing it with a real actor, like not getting the real performance. You're getting someone dubbing it over on a room, and a lot of times they don't put as much effort into it. Like the dubbing person, you can tell is just trying to get it done, and you don't. There's no emotion to it. So I have no problem reading the subtitles, but you have to do it when you're alert and not tired. Like if you're crapping out, don't bother trying to watch anything with subtitles. Um, hey man, do you miss Towson, or is Cali a little better place? Um, I mean, there's the only thing I miss about Towson. The thing is, Towson area, like the actual area of Towson, so much stuff is closing. Like in there, the mall wasn't really very good anymore. Everything. I mean, that's the problem though. Is all the malls don't have the stuff I like anymore. Because I loved going. Years ago when you went to a mall and they had a Suncoast and a Sam Goody and a Waves Music and Saturday Matinee and all that stuff. And all that stuff's gone, and I know that's the way it is. But I don't. So I don't like malls as much as I used to because if they don't have an FY or anything, I know they're overpriced, but still, when I go to a mall, I'm not looking for clothes. I'm a fat guy, so I'm going to the fat guy shop for clothes. So I pretty much go and walk around the mall and do nothing. And I don't like Spencer Gifts is one of them that somehow is always still around. It's been around since I was a kid, as I recall. And what the fuck do you buy in that store? You know what I mean? I never can figure that out. And I don't know how it lasts. It's one of the few things, because when you think about it, KB Toys is gone. And, that at least had some relevance. It was like Toys, Spencer Gifts is like this cheesy, weird stuff, like, penis jokes and stuff. Like, I guess penis jokes never go out. But if anyone knows what I'm talking about, like, I've always noticed that, thinking, how does these stores stay around when Suncoast and all these places just are gone? Like, Suncoast is the one I miss the most. There's like none of them left. And like I said, I know they were overpriced, but in the end, when they were kind of going down, their prices were not as bad. And before, they used to be owned for a little while by Best Buy, and then something happened, and they got owned by FYE. Hey Sean, have you heard of Shay Carl, Shay Tards, or Charles Trippy? If so, which do you prefer? I've seen Shay Carl. I met him, but didn't know who he was. Wet Movie, Brandon Mitchell it was at Comic-Con like 2 years ago, and he's like interviewing real crazy, and I'm thinking, I don't know who this guy is. And then Brendan's like, oh, he's got all these subscribers. And I didn't know who he was. Then I found him later, and I've looked at some of his videos. They're good. He's definitely racking in the money. Like, putting those videos up every day, I can't even imagine. Because if they get like 200,000 views, woof. I mean, it's good for him, though. You have to wonder, though, how they get so big. Like, it's hard to figure it out. What are your views on David Blaine and his magic specials? I remember watching them in camp. Like camp, one of the teachers, because I went to this kind of camp where it was a day camp, but the one, I think it was Camp Bravo, they had like, no, it might have been Friends Camp. I can't remember the name. I think Friends. They used to have actually classes. So it was almost like a school. So it wasn't that outstanding of a camp. They had like an art class, and I think they had like a science class or something. Doing weird experiments. And I remember the one teacher was always playing the David Blaine tapes. So that was the first way I saw those. And I did like David Blaine. I remember the other camp, in Bravo, that camp, you had to put on a show. That was terrible. Like, it was like a singing camp So you had to go up on the stage and sing these terrible songs like "Bravo for Camp Bravo." I hated that camp. Ugh. What are you looking forward to? Are you looking forward to the Child's Play remake? I actually think that'd be interesting to see how they do Chucky. If they do it CGI, how they use the puppet, and it's still Brad Dourif doing Brad Dourif, sorry, doing the voice of he did the voice in all the other Chucky movies. So it's pretty much it's gonna seem a little different than like a actual remake where they go from scratch with everybody new, not the same voice and everything. What are your views on the Jackass movies? Out of all three of them, which is your favorite, and who is your favorite in the cast? For the cast favorite, probably Steve-O was always the one. Steve-O and Johnny Knoxville always had the charisma, were always like kind of the standout people from them. Out of all of them, though, probably I think the first one's the best. You know what I mean? Just because it was new or like the first movie. I don't feel like the third one was as it kind of like the other ones kind of progressed in the movie by going kind of going to extreme at the end. The newest one was kind of all over the place. Extreme, not much of anything. Extreme, then ended kind of weak. So the third one was a little flawed. I liked it though. What are your views on The Hangover? I know they're doing the sequel to that now. I know they didn't want to work with Mel Gibson. I think that's what I heard. Which I don't blame the one guy. I'm sure he would have caused problems too anyway. But I liked The Hangover. I thought that was really good. What are you hoping to get for Christmas the most this year? Well, Christmas already happened, so I think I did compile these questions a few days before Christmas. What is your favorite Christmas slasher film? Probably Christmas Evil. What is the best comedy to come out last year? Adventureland, Zombieland, or Gentlemen Broncos? Out of all of them, I think Gentlemen Broncos was the one that I found the funniest. Have you ever drank a Corona beer? And if so, did you like it? I did have them like once with MJ, and you have to have them with a lime, everybody says. And I thought it was fine. Without it, though, it kind of tastes like an arse. Hey, Sean, I've been watching your videos for years. Keep up the awesome work. Here's the question. Have you seen Brian De Palma's Phantom of the Paradise, and what do you think of it? I love that movie. That's a really good movie. And I think Marilyn Manson, I always think, kind of got some of his style and the way he performed, like that look and stuff, a little bit came from that. On the Ultimate Edition DVD of Dawn of the Dead, what version do you prefer? I always watch the theatrical one the most. I need to get that set that has the Blu-ray of all the versions. But I like in the director's cut one. I think that's the one. They have the more stuff when they're building the wall and stuff, having to hide themselves away in the building. So I like some stuff in that. So I think I guess it's director's cut. I don't know what version you'd say it is. That was a good version. That's definitely a way to watch it, because I think it's like 15 minutes longer. The other one, I don't know if I ever sat through it the whole way through. I don't know, I didn't feel like it was the same movie watching it cut like that. Like, I had no problem with it, but I felt like George Romero cut it the way he wanted it. What is your favorite part in Pee-wee's Big Adventure? Probably, I always liked the stuff with the dinosaurs, and then the studio chase was always one of my favorite ones. And there's just everything in that movie. That's like a movie where everything's my favorite. What's your opinion of the new Pee Wee Herman project coming up? Like I was saying earlier, you never know if it's going to have the same feeling to you seeing it now. And so it's like you never really know. I'm excited. I've wanted to see it for years. But it's so surreal seeing Pee Wee back now. How I was 6 years old in 1991 when he went away because of the incident in the movie theater. And I wasn't told that what happened. Like, they had that whole thing about how your parents to tell you about what happened and how it wasn't really him. And all. I'm sure some of you remember that. But it's just very surreal seeing someone of your childhood come back and be as big, if not bigger now. And it's just interesting. It really, really is. Do you think, John Candy, you think you can defeat John Candy in a 96er competition. Oh yeah, eating the steak thing in the Great Outdoors. I don't think so. I don't really like steak, and I'm always worried about choking on it. So I don't think I could eat that whole thing. Have you seen Yogi Bear? I have. I thought it was all right. Would you ever do an animation voiceover work? If I think you would be really good at it. Also, what is your favorite feature animation? Thanks. Keep up the good work. Um, Now, I've talked to people about doing voice work and telling them I'd love to do that. I would love to do something, voice work. I think that'd be very different too to try and because you have to do everything. There's a lot of stuff I do too is all with faces and all that kind of stuff and expressions, and to do it with just your voice, I'd love to do that. Um, I don't know for favorite though. That's a really tough one. Um, have you seen Battle Royale or Cannibal Holocaust? If so, can you give a review? I've seen both of them. I haven't seen Battle Royale in a long time. Cannibal Holocaust, though, was really good. A lot of people don't like it because the animal stuff. I fast forward to that myself, too. The animal killing thing with the turtle and stuff. But, I mean, I always say, too, to people, it makes sense in a way because, if you were out there and you didn't have any food, you would have to eat a turtle if there was no food. They didn't have to show it, but back then they were trying to go for the shock value and to make it be, the most shocking film you've ever seen and things like that to get people into the theaters. So it makes sense. Since moving to California, have you gone or will you go on auditions for shows or movies? Right now, I'm working on the things that I know I'm doing, like I know for sure I'm involved with. But every so often, I'll go up and do that kind of thing. I'm not the kind of person that's interested in going up to LA all the time. Auditions is not really my thing. I'll do it, after I finish things I'm committed to and things like that. I like doing the sure things, the things that I know for sure I'm going to do and the things that I've talked to people personally about and things like that. And I love doing things in the horror genre and things in, you know, that kind of film. So I'm sort of just concentrating on the people that I know right now and things like that. Um, this isn't really a question, but you should start watching Trailer Park Boys from the start. You really would enjoy it, judging by your taste in shows and movies. I know, I really do need to start watching that. Everyone's told me that. Do you know the YouTuber Roger Sean? He's a great person who has made vlogs in Japan. Sadly passed away earlier this year at the age of 23. He also has a series on Japanese horror movies on his channel. You should check him out. No, I've never seen his stuff. That's sad, though, that happened, but I will look his stuff up. Cool, Sean, I have a question for you. Like Quarantino does, if you made a film and also chose the soundtrack for it, what songs would be in it? I like a lot of real like synth stuff, you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff. So I don't know if I'd have exactly songs as much as I like to, like Tangerine Dream and stuff like that. I'd like to have in it, but I don't know like real specifically songs and stuff. It's a four-part question. You can avoid some of the questions, but please answer at least one. Do you happen to see any Indian films other than Slumdog Millionaire? Please mention if you did. I think Slumdog's the only one I've seen. In what age did you start to live alone, and are you in good relations with your parents? Well, I'm not alone. Are you a fan of Marilyn Manson? If so, are you Antichrist? I feel like I'm middle school again. Do you think there are any overrated YouTubers? I don't like to, say things like that. You know what I mean? It's like, Fred has a lot of viewers and stuff, but work for it. So I mean, you can't really say anything because everybody everybody works for it, and they're busting their ass doing stupid stuff to get there and stuff. So I think Fred too has a lot of viewers because he appeals to kids. So I think that's kind of the market of YouTube. Okay, so you talked a little bit about the pros and cons of having an agent as an actor. Can you talk a little bit more about that? What are the pros and what are the cons? And are you considering getting an agent in the near future? At some point. I mean, I've been approached about it, but it's like kind of like I'm just not ready to. Because the thing is, if you get an agent, they're not going to want me doing the indie movies and a lot of the low budget things because they're not going to make very much money from me doing that. So they're not going to be a big fan of that, and they're probably going to want me to join the Screen Actors Guild, which I'm not in the mood to deal with that right now because I have a lot of commitments to things that I really, really, really want to do that are not that. So it's kind of like the problem is if you join that, you could go a year without doing a project if you join one of those unions. If I ever joined a union, I joined the AFTA union. Which that you can still do low budget movies. Because that's the kind of stuff I love doing. I think low budget movies are the more interesting stuff and more the things that I watch. So I'm more interested in doing those and the under $5 million movies, things like that, or $5 million up. Because I've done bigger ones. I don't know, with the agent though, it's just I right now though I really like to just represent myself. At some point I will. I'm only 25 now. This is what I'm going to continue doing. I'm not going to stop acting. This is what I'm doing. I put everything into this, and I've been doing pretty good. So there's no way now that I would just stop because there's no way with this thing's coming out. Things are only going to get better when things start to come out. So a year or two from now, maybe then I'll go that direction. But it's just kind of waiting, seeing how things go because I really haven't been doing this that long where I would, it's been about 2 years and things have really, really picked up in the last, year. It's gotten to be really different for me getting jobs than it was a year ago. So that's why I'm kind of waiting. Do you know when Zombie Babies is going to be released? Hopefully sometime this year. I know there's some work still that has to be done for that. Did you figure out how to eat pollo loco with the tortillas? I always knew how to do that, but my dad just refused to believe that you put it in the tortilla. Sean, my friend, are you going to do a part 2 to my favorite science fiction films? At some point, I don't know if I have a whole lot more science fiction films. That's the thing. There's certain genres that I don't... Like, when I go in a store and look at the DVDs, it's kind of funny. I go to the Blu-ray section to see what's new. Sometimes I look at the TV maybe once a month. I see what's new in the TV if I don't know what's out. And I usually always go to the horror section. What is your opinion on Margot Prey from Best Worst Movie? I think Margot Prey was, I think that was the mom, I think. It was kind of weird seeing her like that, so that kind of freaked me out. I was glad though they got everybody back for that. I really liked the Best Worst Movie. And Michael Paul Stevenson's a very nice guy. Met him at a cookout about 2 years ago. There's a little video with him in it. He's such a nice guy, though. I thought he did a great job in the movie. Have you seen Stand By Me? If so, could you rank it out of 10? That's definitely a 10 movie. I like it. It's a really good movie. Vi don't trailer Q. I don't know. It's like something in another language. Hey, Sean, if you saw a Hollywood film crew filming a remake of one of your favorite movies, would you get angry and say something even though it's helpless because they have permission, or would you calmly stay quiet and watch them film? Well, one of my favorite movies, I'd be interested in seeing which direction what they were doing with it, and I would never interrupt filming of something because I know how difficult that is. So I wouldn't say anything like that. I would probably just watch and stuff. But because you're a turd when you sort of stand around and watch something. I don't know, but the one remake that they're doing, which I've heard, which I would, love to be on the set of doing something, maybe being the doctor, is if they go that same direction, is the Peanut Butter Solution. That was one that I would pay myself, which I never done, but I would pay to go to the set to be in that because I would love to see what the fuck they're gonna do with that because the original was so weird. I'd like to see it from the beginning to end, that process of that, and then trying to explain to a modern audience what they're doing. What do you read on the shitter? Usually, like those magazines, whatever, Inquirer and that kind of thing. Hey, Sean, you always talk about your favorite movies. Just wondering what your favorite television series is, and if you're a fan of some of the current sitcoms, How I Met Your Mother, Modern Family, and The Office. I don't watch any of those modern sitcoms. I love the classic ones, Full House, Family Matters, The Brady Bunch, like the real classic ones. Gilligan's Island, which I absolutely love. That's such a good show. It's just weird it's not on reruns. The Munsters is great. I know they're going to be bringing that back, from what I've heard. which I'm interested to see what they do with that. Hopefully, you know, they get Butch Patrick and like some of the surviving people from the show. I don't think there's many people left. I think Butch Patrick and might be it. I think Marilyn's still alive, but I'd be interested in seeing that. Um, like things I watch like now. Like I said before, I watched the Pawn Stars show and um, Auction Hunters, all those kind of shows. I really like those ones. Like some of them I don't care for. Um, you know, Storage Wars. I like all that stuff. I would love to just go to one of those storage centers and buy one, and like you know, just for the shits of it. And I wouldn't want to do it all the time, like once, just to see if I got anything. But I'd probably get stuck with a bunch of crap and wouldn't know what to do with it, and have to haul the dump and everything. Do you rebuy your DVDs on Blu-ray? Well, a lot of times, if it's like a catalog title, the Blu-rays are really cheap. Like Uncle Buck is going to come out to Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray is going to be like $10. So I have no problem rebuying it. Like if it's like a favorite movie of mine, but if it's something that's like I've seen this, I'm glad I have the DVD, but I don't need the Blu-ray. I won't rebuy it. Are you a fan of Alice Cooper? If so, have you seen the horror movie he stars in called Monster Dog? If not, I highly suggest getting a copy. You'll love it for the '80s cheesiness. I've never seen that Monster Dog, but I don't like listen to Alice Cooper much. But as a kid, I did, and I do like his music though. What size cup are you in Wet Movies Man Boobs? I don't know. I've never worn a bra, even though I probably could. Butthole. Hey Sean, have you ever seen the movie Fortress about an Australian school teacher and her students that get kidnapped by four guys with masks on? If so, what do you think of it? I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid. And what is your favorite John Candy and Dan Aykroyd movie? And do you have a movie that you can always pop in and cheer you up when your day isn't going well? I have seen Fortress. Now, there's also that Fortress, the prison movie, which is still really good too. But Fortress, the Australian one, is really cool. When they're hiding out in the woods and they have to swim under the water in that one scene. That one, if you guys haven't seen that, that's really good. Favorite John Candy movie? Probably, if you mean like a together movie with him, Great Outdoors is really good. I mean, it's not like an absolute perfect movie. Those twins in it always kind of bugged me. I think it bugged everybody. But I liked that movie. That was the only thing that bugged me. Even as a kid, it was like those twins. Like, they were acting just sort of... Like, they were kind of like the cheesy element to the movie that I didn't really know why they had to do that. That was the only thing that kind of bugged me. The thing at the end stuff, I don't want to say the scene ruin it, but with them, you know what I'm talking about. The stuff with the twins at the end was just like, ugh, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite thing, but I love Uncle Buck and Only the Lonely, which is a really sad movie with John Candy, was really good. The one I don't like, the only one of John Candy movie I don't really love is that Canadian Bacon movie, and I thought it started off okay, which I just didn't like it very much. The one I've got to buy of his is Cool Runnings. That one's a pretty cool one. Like I watched some show and like it was like Trading Spaces, like rerun or something, and it was like a guy who had like the Cool Runnings bobsled. I'm thinking maybe that's the guy they based John Candy's character off because he was a coach of the Jamaican team. I'm thinking maybe that was him and he just didn't want to discuss that. So that was the other one. And a movie I can watch and like cheer me up, like something like Bill and Ted or Pee-wee, just like a real positive movie. Like if you're in a bad mood, I would like same with me. I would never want to watch something negative. I want to watch a real positive kind of thing. What '80s vampire film do you think is the best? Fright Night, The Lost Boys, or Near Dark? I love the music in Fright Night. I really The Lost Boys has always been a favorite of mine, and I know some people there's some people that really hate that movie. But I've always liked it. I've always thought I'm a really big fan of Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. So, I don't know. I've just always loved that movie. Hey, a couple questions for you. Are you a fan of Tim and Eric's awesome show, Great Job? I've never watched that show. My brother, though, loves it. Do you like any of the Full Moon films like Puppet Master series? Yeah, that was one I forgot to say the name of. I do like the Puppet Master movies. What film do you think is the best chance of winning Best Picture this year? It's probably going to end up being Black Swan, I think. But I really like True Grit a lot. I don't know what else is up for that. I don't think they've come up with that list yet. Do you prefer CDs or vinyl records? Well, I talked about that. I don't really have vinyl, so I like CDs better. I haven't bought a CD in a long time. There's not a lot of CD stores anymore. That's another thing. Like out in San Diego, there's not a ton of. There's a place called Lou's Records, which is pretty good. But I don't really know what music I'm looking for because I listen to so much old stuff. So I kind of just discover it. Are you a fan of Werner Herzog or Terrence Malick? I like Werner Herzog. I loved The Grizzly Man. Hey, Sean, I was wondering if you've seen Halloween 4 and 5. I have the DVDs. I need to watch those ones. For some reason, I don't think I've ever watched them. I know, like, last time I talked about this, but I haven't watched it in so long. Hey, coolduder, hope all is well, and you're having an awesome holiday. Now the questions. Hope you're not repeats. Can I find a list of your filmography where I can buy these movies? Well, the main list for all that is on IMDb. Just search Sean C. Phillips. And that has, if you go to the resume section, that has everything listed. On the main one, there's a bunch of stuff that's not on there, and the two of the things on there I haven't even done yet, and I don't even know if they're ever going to happen. Most of the things on that list, though, are done. So, like, sometimes they say pre-production or things like that, but I've done them all already, though. And, like, some of the really good ones, too, aren't posted yet. Like one, I'm not supposed to say the name for it anymore, though. Let me see. What is this? What is your favorite acting role? I don't think I have exactly a favorite, but I really think the Sasquatch movie is what got me really interested in acting. But the film where I really realized that I wanted to keep doing it, and that it was like my main thing, was probably President's Day. I was so happy with how that turned out. It's going to be out sometime next year, but that one really, I don't know, that got me kind of like I really want to keep doing this. Like, I think everything in that I did turned out really, really good, and I learned to tone it back a little bit from watching that. I used to, in some of the older, like the first ever things I filmed, probably about 2008 to early 2009, was kind of real over the top, and now I've toned it down real. Like, if you see the last movie I did, compared to me, it's the most toned down I've ever done. Real normal. More normal than I am now. Hey, coolduder, hope all is well. I said that one. Have you been able to buy Comic-Con tickets? Well, I haven't even bothered dealing with that. The thing is, my dad, since he did some covers for comic books, we can get the passes for it. And he called them or something and said that we're going to get them so we don't have to worry. And I can get them too from doing the acting stuff. You have to sign up a certain way, so I have no clue how to do that for the professional ones. That's my, people say, what's your New Year's goal? My goal is to try my best to get there this year, because I didn't get to go last year because my family was in the middle of moving out here, and I think I was in West Virginia doing the movie. I was in West Virginia doing Zombie Babies then, but so I was glad missing it for work. But if it was just like missing it, because I just couldn't go or something, that would have sucked. Like, I really miss, though, Comic-Con. I really like it. I know people say it's a nerdy thing. I don't go for like nerdy reasons. I just go because I really like the dealer's room. And the thing is, too, if you really look at who goes to the convention, everybody who's worth a shit goes to that. I mean, every actor you can imagine goes to that. It's for panels and everything. It's not like, nerdy people at all. It's everybody. I've seen throughout the years every A-list person on those panels you can imagine. And it's kind of weird when I think back to everybody that I've seen on the panels. It's kind of crazy. Sean, I'm a huge fan. What is your favorite Halloween movies? I did not like the 2009 version more than the 80s version. Anyway, I'm a huge fan. Well, Halloween, I think, was 78, I think. I think that was 7. Might be wrong. I think it was 70s, though. But the 2009 one was the sequel. I thought the sequel was okay. It was very violent, though. Are you planning to come to Canada for Fan Expo? I have to get a passport first, though, so I haven't been there. But I don't think I'm going to go to that. I'm thinking about the Texas Frightmare Convention, and thinking about a lot of little ones. I'm thinking about going back to Monster Mania at some point, but I just don't know if I'll be able to get there, and that's the scheduling and everything. Do a Francis and Preston saying, "Pee Wee, listen to reason," And I know you are, but what am I? Well, I did a good impression. I won't be able to do it as good as I did then, but I did a good one on the Be Kind Rewind review. So that's the best way to see, because I was in the outfit and everything. Have you ever seen Thanksgiving? I've not seen that one. I think I talked to the director for it, though. What's your favorite episode of Ren and Stimpy? I think for favorite one, I like that one on the road when they were on the RV. That was a really good one. I think I'm going to make this video a long video. This may be like 60 minutes. I don't know how long I'm going to stop. Just so it's like a long one for you guys to watch. Favorite, who is your favorite character between Mr. Van Driesen, the hippie teacher, and Principal Vickers? You know, Davis and Butthead. Probably the principal. No, the hippie teachers. Well, they're all good. That's the problem. You can't really pick all of them. What is your favorite movie of all time? And then it says all time. Probably, I always say Pee-wee. I know some people look at you weird when you say that, but that's one I like watching. I know most people say The Godfather. I know. Have you ever been walking the new TV show called The Walking Dead? If so, what are your thoughts on it? I didn't watch any of that. I'm going to get the Blu-ray of it, though, when it comes out. When is Detroit Rock City coming to Blu-ray? Will you ask your friend and director of the movie, Anna Rifkin? I can't wait until it's released in high def. I don't know when it's coming out. I'll have to ask him when it is. I don't know if he'll know for sure either, because I think since it's like a catalog title and it's Lionsgate. I mean, not Lionsgate, it's New Line, and I don't know what the status is of New Line. You don't see a lot from them anymore. I don't even know if they're around exactly. So I don't know for sure. I will ask him, though. I wanted to do a video, like a cut in a picture of him saying what thing, but I don't think he really would know yet. How did you get your start in acting? Well, the main way it happened was I was always doing stuff for YouTube, but I got a message from Andrew Gernhardt at Synthetic Cinema, the producer of Banshee and Sasquatch, and this was in, I think, March 2008, and he was like, we're doing this movie called Sasquatch. We really like the stuff you and MJ are doing online. We really would like to get you involved with this movie. And I was really excited. I was like, oh, definitely. And that didn't look like, though, it was going to end up shooting until November. But then he emailed me a few days later. He's like, we have this movie called Banshee. We're not happy with the ending of it. It ended kind of abruptly, so we want to shoot this new ending. We're writing it for you guys to do. So you just have to come up for one day to do this. So that was how Banshee was done. Banshee was already done, and our ending was done later to try and, end it differently. That's why we weren't in much more, only in that one scene, and there was no connection to us and anything else in the movie. But that was the first one. Then after that, it was a little while until I did another bigger one. I don't know what the next bigger movie was. I guess it was a Severed In. Now I've done so many things in the last year. I don't remember. I think Severed In, and then I think it really picked up last April is when things really started being different. I think that's what I would say, though. Would you be willing to give your thoughts on some of the critics' reviews, especially on movies you've seen like Good Burger, Pokemon, Ernest Saves Christmas, and Ernest Scared Stupid? I don't think I've looked at his reviews. I don't know if that's the guy that complains about stuff. There's one guy that reviewed Butcher Massacre, and he was saying really mean stuff about the movies. And I remember I emailed him and said, being very rude about the movies. I don't know if that's the nostalgia critic, though. But I don't think I've seen those reviews. And I didn't like Pokemon. MJ did, though. Do you know Brian O'Toole? Just wondering. I don't know who that is. Is it possible to become a successful at-home screenwriter, in your opinion? I mean, I don't know a whole lot about that subject, so I really can't say. How'd you become so awesome? Well, thank you for considering that, but I think I'm just alright. What is the first low-budget movie you really enjoyed? I don't know what the first low-budget movie I remembered seeing was. I don't know, that's a tough one. And I don't watch myself. I think most of the, I don't really think about budgets that much with some of the stuff. I guess most of the stuff I watch is low budget, like the horror movies and stuff. And I think nowadays, though, it's kind of weird, the budget thing, how you would consider things low budget, because like especially with the camera situations, somebody making a movie for $5 grand can be shooting this on the same equipment that a movie that's $25 million. Like, because you get the red camera now, and that's the same camera they use for Hollywood movies and a low budget thing. So it's a weird discrepancy now on low budget. Like, it just means they don't have as much money to pay Tom Cruise and stuff. That's where a lot of the big budget movies' monies go, is paying them. I guess this will be the last question, so this isn't too long. Hey Sean, what's up? I'm a huge fan of the Austin Powers series. My favorite is the third one. Which ones of the films are your favorite? I think the second one I like the best. I think that was the one that I think I really liked. I like the fat bastard character. Anyway, though, guys, I don't want to make this too long. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of like nuts. But anyway, though, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll be back with the next part. There's still how many pages left? Let me see. Oh, there's still 63 pages left. Whoa. But anyway, though, thanks a lot for watching. I guess there's going to be a lot more parts of these. I'll see you guys later. Bye.